Hello everybody, welcome to Technique Tuesday. Today I'm going to show you how to make this tri-piece fold fractured card, and as you will see they're all the same but slightly different. Way back when I very first started my YouTubing, I made a stack and shuffle, and these are cut more on the straight, and then you move each pattern along so you get 4 pieces, but they're all the same but different. And this is basically the same concept, it's just done with 3 angular pieces. So let me show you how we got that done. What you need are 3 pieces of cardstock, and they are 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So that concept we're pretty familiar with because that fits inside a standard envelope. And then we've got 3 pieces of basic white cardstock, which layer onto the front. However, as you'll see from the card, it's not really a layer that peeks out. It's really more to support the designer series paper and make sure it gets stuck evenly so there aren't big glaring gaps. Then we need 3 circles, which I cut from the same crushed curry, and 3 smaller layered circles, and these I got from the brand new Deckled Circles, which are coming out in the holiday mini catalogue, which goes live on September 6th. And look how wide this is, look how many circles you actually get. This is fabulous, and it was just too delicious not to use. So I already did those. So there's the 3 big circles and the 3 layered white circles. And then last but not least, we need the star of the show, which is the designer series paper. It's 3 separate pieces, but you can imagine if it was all one, it would be 12 by 12, and then it's cut across the 12-inch side, it's cut down to 5 1/4, and then because it's 12, it conveniently slices into 4 separate pieces. So of course I did that with 3 separate pieces of 12 by 12 cardstock. This is the pattern, more or less. I know some people like to have measurements rather than just winging it. So it's 1 inch at the top, it's 1.5 inches up the side, and it's 3/4 of an inch at the bottom. But that's just a guideline. You can cut it any size you want, really. So I'll bring in the paper cutter, and I will lay this on just to give you an idea of how it works. And if you lay it in the trough, you can then take that piece away, and as long as your pieces are all together, they'll all get cut the same. So you do have to give it a little bit of a push. The Stampin' Up paper cutter will actually go through 3 pieces of designer series paper. So I'm just going to pop that off to one side until I've got it done, and then, you know, sort of eyeball it into the same place. But again, like I say, you have to keep your pieces even so that they all get cut the same. So that's more or less, we're doing an ish. And again, we're going to push, and I'll move the paper trimmer out of the way and bring the pieces back in so you can see how we separated them. So here's the original. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to do 1 at part 2 and 2 and 3, and then we'll go 1, 2, 3. So they all have the same shapes of pieces, but they're all in a different design. And the way you do that is every time you start, you move along 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, then it's 1 at the second, 2, 3, and then it's 1 at the third, 2, 3. I mean, you can mix and match them and just lay them out and look and make sure that you've got them all the same, but that's the concept that you are aiming for. So next trick is to bring in the basic white, which is cut to the same size, and attach a piece. So I'm going to just use my rolling adhesive. You can use the liquid glue here. Sometimes think that's a little bit better because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room, or if you're confident, you can just put it on, and because it's exactly the same size, you can line the edges up and they should go in the right place. I'm actually just going to bring in my silicone sheet, just because if I'm going to fall off the edge of the points with the rolling adhesive, I don't want it to go on my work surface, and the silicone sheet can handle that. So again, we're just going to line it up with the corners, making sure it's butted up against the other piece and down the edge of the cardstock, and there you have it. And then last but not least, that piece is going to fit into there. So oops, we'll make sure that all lines up. It looks like mine's got a little hair's breadth. It depends which side of the trough in the paper cutter it falls, but I don't think it's distinctive enough to show up really. And then you would stick this one onto this one and this one onto here, but because it's pretty much the same process, for the speed of the video, I'm going to set this off to one side. And then what we'll do is we'll bring in the 3 bases and the pieces of designer, not the pieces of designer series paper, will stick on there. Of course it would have stuck on these ones, but because for ease for the video, you've got the concept of how it works, we'll set that off to one side. And then we've got 3 circles which are cut, and then we've got 3 layers. And what I did was, here's 2 I made earlier, which will go off with the other 2. And then what we're going to do with this one is we're going to do a little bit of stamping. So I've got the circle sayings, and that's where I'm going to take the happy birthday from. And then the sentimental park is where I'm going to take the 2-step flower from. So we'll do that. Oh, I've already put them on the blocks. So we've got them on the blocks, and we'll use the crushed curry. This is just a little bit of stamping off paper. So we'll stamp the edge of it full strength, like that. And then the other piece, which you've seen me do before, is if we stamp this one full strength, you wouldn't be able to see the outline. So we'll stamp it off on a scratch of paper and then stamp the second refrain on, and you can see it's just a little bit lighter. So we'll do that, and then we will take Misty Moonlight, which matches the blue in one of the papers, and we'll take Happy Birthday and simply stamp it underneath. That, my friends, is the card made. So what we'll do now is we will attach the white to the layer, and then we will put the base on the card. And then we will go ahead and put the greeting on the front. So there you have it. Actually, as you'll see, these have flowers and they have a nap, so the flowers really need to be upwards. If you had used the designer series paper that didn't have a direction, you could even switch it around and have the triangle in the bottom corner, but of course in this instance, like I say, the flowers have got a nap, so they need to go straight upwards. And going back to the original samples that I had made, this one is just stuck on. This one has dimensions. The white layer is on a dimension, and this one, the white is stuck on, and the whole yellow has a dimension. So I think that's a really fun, quick and easy way to make 3 cards that are slightly different. Everybody needs lots of birthday cards. Everybody needs lots of thank you cards. Anybody who does an online order from me, I always send them a hand stamp thank you. So I'm sure some of you have been recipients of that, and I thank you again very much for your order. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe, please ring the bell, please share it. That would be an absolutely great honor for me. Like I say, all the directions and dimensions are in the box below. And last but not least, thanks so much for watching.